Inflation coming from the UK. Latest data just released from the Office of National Statistics. Britain's annualized consumer price index 10.4% in February. 10.1% was what recorded in December. Also missing estimates of 9.8. Meanwhile, core CPI gauges excludes volatile food and energy items. 6.2% year on year versus 5.8 in January, also ahead of market expectations. The monthly figures showed that UK consumer prices rose 1.1% in February. Expectations were at 0.6%. Arise business analyst Bode Ososimi joins us now. Bode, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us. So it's the markets and also a lot of the world looking, I guess, to the Fed. What are you expecting?
Well, I think the bottom line is that we are going to see an increase in terms of rates. But whether we're going to see 25 basis points, it may actually be less than 25 basis points, or some have said a pause, but I doubt if we'll see a pause. Markets definitely are somewhat, I think they've adjusted to the issues in the banking sector. We've seen markets stabilizing. Today, European markets are even somewhat on the back foot, and I think they're just waiting for that 25 basis points. And the inflation data that we got today also from the UK is pointing maybe even to a more hawkish Bank of England. So I think the mood now is we've digested the jitters in the banking sector. That has abated somewhat. We're expecting the Fed to give us a hike, but a dovish slant in the dot plot. And I think because of that, we've barely seen European banks, for example, inching up 0.2% after a 5% jump in the past three sessions. So the worst isn't over, but certainly it's looking slightly more stable, and maybe there'll be some more words of assurance from Powell.
And the UK inflation data that we just got, you mentioned that a tad. Well, what do you make of the numbers that just came in?
Well, like you read, it was a bit of a surprise. Many had said the UK would go back to single-digit inflation ahead of the Bank of England rate decision tomorrow, but that didn't happen. The CPI change leaped. Instead of falling as expected to 10.4% from January rate of 10.1%, electricity, gas, and other fuel prices squeezed household budgets. And the ONS also said upward contributions to the monthly change came from restaurants and cafes, food and clothing, partially offset by downward contributions from recreational and cultural goods and services, particularly recording media. This is from the ONS. But the good news, I think, is that factory gate prices of goods which are predictive of future CPI movements, increased at a lower 12.1% year on year in February 2023, from 13.5% rise in January, but still slightly above the market forecast of 12.4% month on month in February. That's PPI also fell by 0.3%, reversing a 0.5% rise in January. So when you see PPI month on month falling, as you know, PPI plays into CPI in a few months. So the trend, I think, is still on the downside, though it's still looking somewhat sticky. But when you consider the mixed employment data better than expected economic data, it's not clear how BOE will answer to the issues in the global banking situation. But UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said that the Bank of England should remain focused on taming dangerously high inflation. So, yes, we had 50 basis points at the last meeting. Many are saying it's going to be 25 this time. And even as that CPI print came out, we saw the pound jumping back to multi-week highs on the stronger inflation data.
To Credit Suisse, we gather that bonuses will not be paid. I mean, I guess there will be public support for that. What do you make of it?
Well, indeed, bonuses are to reward success and good performance. So you wonder why this is news at all. Of course, recruiters are having a field day, picking up their better performance with all the account relationships that will go with that. But fixed pay these days tends to be lower than 70% of total compensation will be paid. And according to what I understand, the executive board said they would waive variable compensation to the 2022 financial, but already granted and immediately payable variable remuneration will still be paid. So there's an effort to ensure past performance is recognized. I suspect we will still see a pickup in use of variable compensations linked to balanced performance scorecards as a key way of retaining your best, even in the difficult times. And we could actually see variable pay exceeding the fixed pay as well as the award of stock options, which help ownership of executives in getting better long-term results and not just the performance for the year. Also, in a deal which opens today and expires on March 28, UBS is offering to buy back about $3 billion worth of bonds it's issued last Friday, just days before the bank said it would acquire troubled Credit Suisse Group following this hastily arranged crisis talks. Obviously, people who bought those bonds didn't know this deal was happening. Of course, you know what's happened since then. Moody's has downgraded UBS, and the holders of those bonds could feel they have been hoodwinked. So there's an offer to buy back those bonds by UBS, and that offer expires on March 28. But the times are indeed very interesting. The situation, particularly with UBS and Credit Suisse, has no way settled. Integrating two huge mammoth entities like that is not an easy thing, and the easiest thing is to make the announcements and declare the marriage, but making it work is going to be something else.
All right, business analyst Bode Ososimi. Bode, thanks so much for taking us through the headlines. We appreciate your insights as always.